Hey everyone, Psychopath1c here, back with another review. This time it's a rant. And I really did not want this to be a rant, but what can you say? It's a wrong turn movie. As you can see, it's a wrong turn 6, Last Resort. I had not high hopes, but I had my expectations mid level. Like if it was gas, it was mid grade. So my expectations weren't really high because I didn't like Wrong Turn 4, Bloody Beginnings. The gore was excellent in it. I liked the gore. And the music, ooh, the score was suspenseful. Wrong Turn 5, the only thing I liked about it was Doug Bradley's performance, and that's not saying much because he barely had any. He barely had. He barely. He had barely nothing to do. Barely anything to do, sorry. And the gore in that was, CGI, but it was decent. Now, Wrong Turn 6 rolls around, didn't really have any high expectations, didn't have low expectations, heard a lot of bad things about it, heard there was a lot of sex in it, heard there was some incest in it, and oh my god, gag me with a spoon and, ugh, I, and you never, you even if it's gonna be incest, don't show it. There's a difference between when it comes to incest, do not show the incest. Just say, it's a brother and sister, and I'll get it. But they go as far as they can. They try to push the limits. And there's a difference between pushing the limits and being just plain out pornographic. And that's what this movie is. It's pornographic. Um, it's about a guy named Danny. Him and his friends end up going up to West Virginia, and it's actually Bulgaria if you're not familiar with your countries or whatever. It's Bulgaria. You can tell from the trees and pretty much the overall weather patterns and the fact that it doesn't look anywhere near the look of the first five films. Five films. Wrong Turn got a Wrong Turn got a series. The first two were good. Third one was okay. Fourth one, fifth one, piece of shit. And this one, probably the worst of the series. This is why I stayed away from reviewing this series. But I figured what movie to start with than the worst one. Ugh. So Danny inherits pretty much a hotel, a grand hotel in West Virginia, and these are the richy rich kind of people. Danny's group of friends are like richy rich, like it's the South. They're not up to standards for us, Danny. We're your family. These people aren't your family. You don't even know them. That's pretty much what they're saying. And the cast has Roxanne Paulette from Devil's Tower. Very good movie. If this movie is way better, Devil's Tower. Don't know if you can see it because of the glare. It's got Jason Mewes in it. Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. He's in this. Very good film. Check this out. Way better than Wrong Turn 6. But anyways, it's got Roxanne Paulette from Devil's Tower. She's in this movie. You get to see her boobs. For those who have seen Devil's Tower and wanted to see her boobs, well, there, you get to see them. Twice. The second time, very, very pornographic scene. Most of the sex scenes in this are pornographic. But anyways, it starts off with two bikers, they're biking and everything, doing what bikers do. And they end up deciding to go into a spring for swimming. They end up having sex. Oh, the lovely, lovely, dirty deed. Oh, you don't need sex in a horror movie. Yeah, Friday the 13th has sex, yes, but it's not on the level of this. There's 5 scenes of sex in this movie, and 2 of them are incest scenes. But anyways, the male biker gets arrow to the face, like if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the death. The arrow goes through the mouth and out the other cheek. Like the bottom of the arrow goes out the other cheek, and the head of the arrow goes down the cheek, and I forget what the if you've seen an arrow, you know what I'm talking about. And the female the female rider ends up getting barbed wire to the eyes and baseball bats tied to the barbed wire, and the redneck people that are in every single one except for the second one, I think. The redneck hillbillies are Three Finger, Sawtooth, and One Eye. They're in almost every single one. The first one, the third one, I know has Three Finger in it. The fourth one is a prequel, so it's got all 3 of them in it. The fifth one, still a prequel, has all 3 of them in it, but I don't remember any. I remember the second one was the best one, but I remember it had Henry Rollins in it and had some damn fun gore scenes. Damn fun. I'll talk about that maybe eventually. Eventually, if I ever get it on DVD, roughly in a box set. There's that 2-pack I want to get, Wrong Turn 1 and 2. If I can find those movies for a good, cheap price, I'll be happy. But if I'm ever going to get Wrong Turn 3, 4, 5, and 6, why would I even want those movies? I'd have them just for the collection, that's it. Look at me, I'm shaking because I'm disgusted with the series. But anyways, back on topic. Danny inherits this hotel, and it's run by his birth sister, Sally, and Sally's relative. It's either her other brother or cousin, Harris, I think his name is. Harris or Hamilton, one of the two. And they're pretty much Danny's long-distant relatives. And he inherits the hotel, and there's this old lady that keeps on hitting on Hamilton or Harris, I forget his name. Ends up pinching his butt whenever he bends over to pick up the fork. Because it's a hotel. Everybody's coming to eat their food, stay in a room, whatever. And the old lady, she gets a pretty cool death. She ends up getting the bell rang on her room, and she opens up the door, ends up saying, "Ooh, there's that waiter I ordered," or something like that, room service or whatever. And she ends up opening up the door, and there's a cart. Like the hotels, the fancy hotels that have the cart to take your luggage. That's sitting right in front of the door, so she decides to push it out of the way. Ends up standing in front of a wall. Axe ends up flying, goes right into her chest, pinned to the wall. And I'm like, good gore scenes. But that doesn't save the movie. You've got to give me more than just gore scenes, people, when it comes to horror films. If I want gore, I'll watch Dead Alive, The Burning Moon, or any of the Friday the 13th. At least with those, you're getting substance and style. But you don't have to have style over substance. It should be equal, style and substance. With a little bit more substance, a little bit of style right there. Yeah. But then, the characters are likable, that's all I can say. But even that can only get you so far too. Yeah, you can have likable characters. But when the movie is not done right, the execution of the movie is so focused on the gore, you lose your viewers. You lose half your viewers unless they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see some of that good gore. Oh yeah, I'm gonna rub one out. Sorry if I grossed out any people. Sorry. Zip it. I didn't mean to gross anybody out, but that's pretty much the demographic this film was meant for. It will please all the 14-year-old boys because there's a lot of nudity, and it's going to please most of the gore hounds because it's got a lot of gore. But is it going to please the average moviegoer, average horror moviegoer? No. Unless you're into pointless, really pointless gore movies. And this is coming from a guy who's seen a lot of low-budget films and loves those low-budget films. But even I have standards for low-budgetness. Now, this movie looks good. It looks really good for a straight-to-DVD movie. This movie looks good. Got good acting, got good camera work, got good gore. But the costumes for the rednecks, could be better, could be worse, but I found them to be decent. People said you could tell they were rubber masks. I couldn't tell. I could not tell. Because, gonna grab maybe come on, you bastard. Come on. If you want to know about cheap effects, check out this movie, Terratoons 2. Amazing fucking movie. This movie is a mindfuck. I will talk about this movie again eventually. I finally got myself a copy of Terratoons 2. Unrated director's cut. Even though I don't even know if it was rated to begin with. But anyways, back on topic, talking about this piece of trash, Wrong Turn 6. Got a lot more to tell. So, anyways, Danny's friends up getting picked off one by one. First up is his friend who's interested in Danny's redneck sister. He ends up getting, I think he ends up getting just a bow and arrow to the back. Simple as that. While Danny's going hunting, and this is, Danny happens to be a guy who doesn't like hunting, and then it's his first time hunting. He ends up taking the arrow, bow and arrow, makes a clean shot for the, right to the doe's head, well, neck, and the effects, most of the gore effects went to the doe. D-O-E. Not the doe like money. Not that money, sweet, sweet green money, making it rain, bitches. Not that dough. But anyways, he slices the throat of the doe. I'm not into hunting. If you like hunting, that's your prerogative. But me, I just want to eat my meal. I don't want to have to hunt for my meal when I can go down to an Arby's, McDonald's, Burger King, any fast food restaurant, any like restaurant period that serves meat, where I can eat a home cooked meal of meat. I don't have to hunt for my meat. So, anyways, he kills a doe, and I love how it was shot. I love how it was edited. When he shoots the arrow, when it hits the doe, it also looks like it hits a human being because Three Finger is shooting his bow and arrow at the exact same time, and he ends up killing the sheriff or just a regular county cop. And the cop is shooting his shotgun, trying to hit Three Finger, and Three Finger comes closer to him and kills him. I think puts an axe to his head or something. Most of the deaths in this are bow and arrow deaths. So yeah. And then one of Danny's other friends ends up coming out in the woods looking for Danny. Ends up finding Sawtooth. I think it's either Sawtooth or One Eye feasting on the doe. The doe was a lifeless corpse. And he ends up going running, looking for Danny, yelling, Danny, Danny, where are you? Where are you? Oh shit, Danny, where are you? Ends up bumping into Danny. Danny falls down a hill. Danny ends up hurting his legs. They get caught in barbed wire. And who treats the wounds? His southern belle of a sister who wants to. And I'm like, why am I watching this movie? Oh yeah, it's a wrong turn movie. Have I not degraded my expectations any lower? Have I not degraded my brain cells any lower? So anyways, Wrong Turn 6 ends up going further and further into the pornography zone. Here's how it goes. Sally, the Southern Belle sister of Danny's, they just met, and she's cleaning up his wounds. He's got blood all over his mouth from the doe, the corpse of the doe. After slicing the neck of it, he's got blood on his face pretty much. And she's wiping it off, and she asks him to take off his shirt, so he takes off his shirt. And then they start to get really close, like close up to the screen like this. They're facing each other. Imagine the Danny's here and the sister's here. They're getting really close. Pretend these are the lips. And then the girlfriend walks in. And then she's like, what are you doing? And Danny's like, oh, she's just cleaning me up. Why are your pants down? Oh, she's cleaning my wounds. And she's like, okay. And the sister leaves. And then the girlfriend, played by, got a movie here, yeah, a lot better than Wrong Turn 6. The girlfriend stars in this movie, Akila Zoil, or Akila Zoil. Killjoy goes to him. She plays the girlfriend of Danny in this movie. She's a pretty good actress. I don't mind her. She's got looks and she's got talent. And you get to see her boobs. Like I said, almost every female in this movie, you get to see their boobs. Nude, full frontal nudity. Well, you don't get to see the bottom half, but you get what I'm getting at. And then, one by one, Danny's friends end up dying. One of Danny's friends ends up getting suffocated by Sally, the sister, sitting on top of the pillow and pretty much getting the rocks off, killing this man. And the man's girlfriend, they're end up making out on, I call it a Kama Sutra seat, because that's what it looks like. Sex therapy seat, whatever. They're bumping and grinding, and the rednecks end up taking, Three Finger ends up taking the woman's leg, played by Roxanne Pillay, ends up taking her leg and cracking it right next to her head, and ends up taking the other leg and cracking it next to the leg, next to the head. Cool death. If there's any positives I can say, I liked the characters and I liked the gore, but the incest just ruins this movie for me, because that was most of the focus. Gore and incest. Sorry, got an itchy back. I find the itchy back more entertaining than the stupid piece of shit movie. But thank God I'm almost done with this rant. 24 minutes in, and I've still got more minutes to go. More. Anyways, Danny ends up having a meeting with Hamilton or Harris or whatever the dude's name is, and Sally. They end up taking him out to the middle of the woods so he can meet the rest of his family, and they're all deformed incest family, brothers, sisters, cousins, you name it, they're there. One's got rotten teeth, one's got a missing eye, like one eye, except for the face is like smudged. They look almost like the mutants from Hills Have Eyes, although that's a lot better movie and a lot better special effects. Although the effects here are good, they can't save the movie, like I said. And so, they, Sally and Danny, I'm trying to say this without, they pretty much bump and grind in front of the fire, and he thinks it's his girlfriend because he's drunk. They pretty much drugged his blood water. That's what it looks like, blood water. He drinks it, ends up getting pretty much drunk off of it, and he ends up doing his sister, the sister he just met, thinking that it's his girlfriend, played by Akila Zul. So they end up making out, then cut to the next day. Akila Zul and Danny's two friends are looking for him. Danny comes in, and then, losing my mind, losing my brain, so I was just talking about this movie. He's drunk, he ends up coming in and saying, "Oh, I was out with my family. Oh, I was out with my family. I was so drunk. I gotta rest. I'm gonna rest." And then Akila Zul and Danny's friends are like, "Get up! We've got to get out of here." I don't know where Vic is. Just like Vic, he left. And they're like, "Where's Vic, man? Where's Vic?" And then Danny's like, "I don't know. I'm trying to pretty much act like a drunk person, because that's what Danny is right now. He's drunk. How do you get drunk off of blood water? I have no clue. Maybe it was bad wine. As they say, wine is the blood of Christ. Maybe Danny got a little too much of the Christ blood. Um, anyways, there's only 3 friends left. Danny's girlfriend, Akila Azul, Danny's friend with the glasses, I forget his name, and Danny's timid friend, I forget his name. They're running around the house looking for something to get Danny so they can get out of there. And what ends up happening, they end up finding out that they're all cannibals. Like, like Danny's bloodline happens to be cannibals. And they find their friend being eaten. And what ends up happening, this is a stupid death. And I've seen stupid deaths in movies. But this one takes the cake. The Three Finger ends up shoving a hose up the guy's butt, up Danny's friend's butt, Danny's friend who has the glasses, and his stomach ends up inflating from the hose, and guts go everywhere, and I'm like, is that supposed to be scary or funny? Really? Is it supposed to be scary or funny? And I'm looking at the screen like, what? Scratching my head like, what? And then Danny, we're having a 2001 Maniacs moment right here. Like, you think Danny's gonna kill his girlfriend, and then he says, run away, get out of here. And so she ends up putting Danny's sister's face into boiling water and ends up burning Danny's sister's pretty little face. And Danny's like, I told you to go. You're trying to kill my family. And then Akila Zoe's like, they're trying to kill me. And Danny went from being a nice guy to being a psycho killer so fast in this movie. I was like, man, he must have been a pretty depraved person to begin with if he's going to turn into a psycho that fast. And Hamilton or Harris ends up getting killed. With keys. Akila Zoe's character keeps on stabbing the dude's eyes with the keys repeatedly and crushes his head with the keys. And Danny ends up shooting Akila Zoe's character with a shotgun. And then the movie cuts to Danny's opened up the hotel. He's now a pretty fancy man. And I'm like, what? And then a big woman ends up coming by and saying, ooh, you've got a lot of food. And he's like, now don't you disappear now. And he ends up smiling. And then he goes down into the room where his sister's face was burned. And he ends up, here's how the movie ends. He ends up riding his sister. And then it cuts to credits. And they're moaning. And you know how end credits has music? It has 4 or 5 seconds of them moaning. And I'm like, oh my god. What the fuck did I just watch? If this is what horror movies are gonna be nowadays, it's making me die inside. So what do I give Last Resort, aka Wrong Turn 6 Last Resort? I give it, do I really have to rate this piece of shit? 1 out of 10, and that's just for the characters being likable and the gore. That's it. And there's not really much character development because they get killed off one by one so fast. You're like, Really, that's it? It's the end of the movie? That's a waste of time. 1 out of 10. Hopefully you all enjoyed my review slash rant over probably the worst film I've seen this year so far, even though this movie came out in 2014. Wrong Turn 6 gets a big fuck you, and 2 big fuck yous. Wave them around. I hated this movie. Anyways, this is Psychopath1c signing off. Catch y'all later. Peace. Fuck Wrong Turn 6.